perfect way. You no longer exist, you're no longer.
Welcome to the AfterMat, your source for WWE pay-per-view recaps. I'm your host, the People's Champ Cal, and alongside me, as always, I have my tag team partner, the Glamazon Delisha. What's going on, Delisha?
Hello. Another Monday, another recap.
Yeah, I mean, for a pay-per-view that, for when I looked at the card, actually, I was like so excited for it. I was like, oh, this is actually a really good card. I didn't like, as you guys all know, I don't really watch Raw and SmackDown, so like I was surprised to see some of the stipulations. It was like an eye for an eye match. Like, I had no idea that was gonna be a stipulation. I didn't know it was gonna be a swamp fight. Like a lot of these things I didn't know. I thought they were just like regular matches. I thought that was pretty interesting. But did it live up to the hype? I don't know. We'll find out, I guess, as we go through the matches. But Delisha, what did you think?
I hated the title, first of all. It was stupid. It was like the horror show at Extreme Rules. It would have been fine if that was just they were calling the swamp match or whatever. But for it to be the actual title of the pay-per-view, it's or as Rain Jack will say, it's a no for me, Doug. But yeah, and maybe because I did see the build up to a lot of these matches, I wasn't that excited. I wasn't sure what we were gonna get, and some of these matches went exactly how I thought they would, or in terms of me feeling about them. And some surprised me. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about these little things like they might as well just call it Great Balls of Fire again and stuff like that. But a horror show, I think like that would have been better during Halloween time, in my opinion. Kind of like how they have Halloween Havoc when WCW had it. Like that would have been better, but I don't know why they did horror show at Extreme Rules. Like I agree with you. Yeah, they should have just had it maybe for the main event. Maybe the eye for the eye match, but I don't know. Welcome, Randall. How are you? So let's get started. They added 2 extra matches, and one happened to be on the pre-show. And you guys know I don't really watch pre-show, but I watched this one because I was like, oh, I like these guys. I'm more so I like Kevin Owens. But yeah, this was a pretty good match right away. Kevin Owens tried to go for his patented stunner or Austin stunner, whatever you want to call it, and Buddy Murphy countered a lot in the beginning of the match. He also had a lot of. I feel like Buddy Murphy doesn't have any moves. I don't know. I don't watch him enough. But whenever I look at him, he's always doing a knee for some reason, which I don't mind. I love knees. Like I love knees. So like every offensive attack I saw in his counters were all knees. It'd be a ripcord knee or a short running knee or just a knee to the head. Like it was just all knees in the beginning from Buddy Murphy. So I don't get it. We had some great spots too, like the Swanton. I guess he did. Well, he also did the springboard moonsault. Kevin Owens did, which is really cool to see. He kind of stumbled at the top a little bit, then climbed over to the second rope. Like, why is he going to the second rope now? But then he did the springboard, flipping moon. Like I guess he did flip, whatever he did, and then it was a lot of flipping around. Like he did 180s into another 180. It was really cool to see by Kevin Owens. Very limber. I wish he had some more time at being relegated to the pre-show. I feel like he should be elevated some more. But it was a good match otherwise. Buddy Murphy didn't really get much offense in except for counters and a lot of knees, like I said. He did a lot of knees. And then at the end, I think he also tried to go for a superplex, but I think Kevin Owens won with a pretty good combo at the end of the super kick, which caused Buddy Murphy to fall back, and he actually fell down to then hit the bounce off the second rope, the middle rope, I should say, came back and took a stunner, and that was it. And you could see the angle they did it at, you could see Samoa Joe's reaction, and it was funny to see his reaction. I don't know if anybody else caught that, but he was really having fun in the match. Like, he was really smiling and seeing how like it went. He really liked it. So I enjoyed it, and these guys work very well together. Like, I really want to see both of them elevated, but I kind of like how Buddy Murphy is in Seth Rollins' stable. But for Kevin Owens, he really needs to like not be like mixed in with this stable nonsense, like where he's helping people out, like, be it Rey Mysterio or whatever. He should be on his own main eventing, probably in mid card or even higher. For maybe I wouldn't mind. I don't think I wouldn't be surprised if he's not the main event at next year's WrestleMania. That's I'm gonna go as far as saying that. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the main event, or at least for the heavyweight. I don't know how they make 17 main events. I mean, like, he'll be fighting for the world championship, on either brand, barring injury. He will be there in the main event, maybe even winning the Royal Rumble. I can see him winning. He's getting that Austin following now kind of thing where he's in the stunner. He can go on and win the Royal Rumble, and then go on to WrestleMania and get the championship. That's what I feel. That's where I see Kevin Owens going. And this is pretty early to say that. Only middle of... I mean, we just had WrestleMania a few months ago, so pretty early to say that, but whatever. I like to make those bold predictions, so we'll see. Delisha, your thoughts?
Yeah, I really like the match. I will say I really miss his pop-up powerbomb, like, as his, like, finisher, because it was something it may not have been unique to him, but I mean, in the modern age of, like, wrestling right now, it was unique to him. Because when he did put him on the, like, sprung him back from the ropes, that's what I thought he was going for, and I was like, oh, cool, we have it's another stuff. But either way, I do still like both of these guys. They do work well in the ring, especially since they've been working against each other for the last couple of weeks. But yeah, and with Murphy being in Steph's stable, he's kind of relegated to almost kind of like background noise. But then again, kind of so is KO, so it kind of worked. I wouldn't be surprised if he maybe starts to go in contention for maybe the U.S. title, maybe. Because I don't know what will be next with KO sticking around the Seth Rollins sphere of storyline. Because he was just really helping out anyway. He wasn't really, deeply involved. So maybe I would like to see KO do something.
I'd like to see him do something, but the only thing I don't want to see him do is like to pull one of those things again where it's like, now you join my stable because like we own you kind of thing. Like, I don't want him joining Seth Rollins' stable as like another mouthpiece, then eventually rebelling against him, and I don't want to see that. But I guess we'll see what happens with him. All right, so that brings us to our next match, which features the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, New Day, against Shinsuke, Nakamura, and Cesaro. And this was the first match of the regular show. And I don't know if Delisha wants to tell you the behind the scenes of what we talked about how the matches will probably play out of the rest of the night, what she was hoping and what ended up happening. But go ahead, Delisha.
Yeah. So this would be a theme throughout the night for me, is these seemingly thrown together storylines to do what, I'm not sure. But the match itself started out pretty good. I really can't tell you a lot of the backstory because there wasn't much of it, except for in one match, I believe Cesaro put them through a table. So they were like, you know what? For Extreme Rules, we want to challenge you guys to a tables match. And I'm like, alright. But knowing the people involved, I knew we would probably get a good match, so I wasn't worried about that aspect. But you know me, I love my storylines. I love what the WWE doesn't know about is something called cohesiveness. But the match started out pretty well. They started off almost like in a brawl, like in the ring, to show like, we're intense, we're really serious about this, and to the point where of course, when you have stipulation like weapons matches, they're no pun intended or any pun intended, they do tend to get extreme. And we got our first look of that with Big E with this, like, I don't know if intense is the word, but this really cool looking spear through the ropes to take out Cesaro. Excuse me. And then after that we had Kofi, of course. He's always going to be involved in some of the high spots, but this one didn't go his way, so to speak, as he went soaring over the ropes to land onto Cesaro and Shinsuke, but they had uprooted a table by that time, so he's just like, it reminded me of Roadrunner running into the walls of a picture. It wasn't that comical, but that's what it reminded me of. So that took Kofi out of the picture for a little bit while Cesaro and I keep saying Cesaro and Kingslaying. I don't know why. It's Monday, y'all. My brain wanted to work that way. Cesaro and Shinsuke that led to a lot of 2-on-1 action against Big E, to where Cesaro was doing his King of Swing move into the I don't know why I can't say Kinsasha kick from Shinsuke, and then by that time Kofi was back in the ring by a little bit after that to get his revenge. While this time Big E's out on the edge for a little bit, and then they wind up into a corner of the ring where I believe it was Kingston who set up the double decker tables with the intent to.
Sorry, guys. I think we have a. Go ahead, Delisha.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Discord's crashing again. I don't know why it's giving that issue.
Lovely. Just lovely. Okay. So we have the double decker stack up of tables, to which it was intended to put Cesaro through. But Shinsuke had got up on the other side of the ring to prevent that from happening. And I believe Cesaro interrupted a proposed hurricane from Kingston to wind up putting Kingston through the table. And therefore, Shinsuke and Cesaro are the new tag team champions. Is this Shinsuke's second time champion with tag team? I mean, this is like Cesaro's 45th, but but congrats to them. It's some new blood, so to speak, new blood combination with the tag team titles. The match was a great start off for the main show, as you will, with like great high flying moves. And like I said before, when you have these 4 individuals involved, they know each other pretty well by now, especially Cesaro and the New Day, because they've been fighting forever. So I'm not that sure where we might go from here. There's not a lot on the SmackDown tag team scene at the moment, partially due to COVID and partially due to injuries. So we're probably going to get another bout of the New Day again, maybe, unless another tag team comes forth in the next few weeks. Not like a new tag team, but like a new player onto the field. Yeah, so we'll see. It is a little exciting because, as usual, Cesaro will go on a peak, and then he'll stifle out for a little bit. Shinsuke, I feel like he never really got a peak heyday on the SmackDown or Raw roster yet. I feel like a lot of his big moments still people remember from NXT and back in Japan. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But overall, as far as the match goes, I really liked it. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, this was actually a really good match. I enjoyed it as well. And like, if you put anybody with Cesaro as a tag team, you're doing pretty well. Like I said, there's some great spots, but nothing will top that Kofi getting powerbombed through. I didn't think they were going to do it, but they did it, and he went through 2 tables, and that was pretty cool to see. So, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I don't know what they're going to do with this tag team, like you said, but it is a fresh new face to have, and challengers aren't very few and far between at the moment, but I guess we can see what's going to happen with them. But I like, I'm not a big fan of the New Day, as you know, so it's cool to see them. Like I said, I want to see them get their own spotlight on their own. Kofi's already had it, but I mean, like, people like Big E and Xavier's still out, but whatever. But Big E getting his own time to shine would be pretty cool to see as well. I feel like he's always been like a second fiddle to everybody. But yeah, this is a good match, really good ending as well. I don't know if we can say that for the rest of the matches, but this had a good ending. The next match featured the SmackDown Women's Champion and one half of the Tag Team Women's Champions, Bayley against Nikki Cross.
Yeah, this is me again. It was a pretty funny to see Alexa, Nikki, Kyrie, and Asuka before the match giving Nikki a pep talk. Because the SmackDown before, she was questioning herself a little bit after a loss for the match, which I thought was pretty good to give a different story beat for Nikki instead of just being excitedly crazy Nikki. She was showing like maybe like some humanness to her character, not to the actual person. So that was pretty fun to see, a pretty different angle to see play out last Friday, and then to see them like pump her up for the match. So that was pretty fun. As far as excitement for this match, I kind of forget how Nikki got her shot, even with the preamble promo beforehand. But and mainly because I feel like they haven't really written her very well, to especially for the last couple of months. Maybe in the beginning when she was champion to be Alexa's like partner or friend or whatever, it was cool. But now again, kind of like Cesaro kind of flitters into the background of the mind, so to speak, of the audience mind, until they're like, oh yeah, she is a contender for titles when they put her there. But the match itself was pretty back and forth. I think Nikki getting a lot of the upper hand for a good portion of the match. Starting off with a neck breaker to put her in, then follow up with a tornado DDT, and again a lot of near falls to where it was the commentators were saying, oh, did Bayley overthink this, because Bayley was saying this was going to be easy coming out to the ring and getting the champion on the rope, so to speak, time and time again. Then they, then of course, then it'll be Bayley's turn later on in the match, to where she actually used one of Nikki's, or tried to use one of Nikki's own moves against her by putting her that section between the ring apron skirt, I guess you would call it, and the ring. But then it kind of backfired because Nikki just went after her still. And then they wound up back in the ring, and then Bayley, did her Bayley to Bayley, but kicks out their 2 count. So again, you get that frustration of the challenger, giving all you got, but still, champion can't get the job done so far, and really don't see an ending to the match until, as usual, Sasha has to get involved while the referee was distracted. She slips on the ring, one of her legit boss rings, onto Bayley's hand to give Nikki I guess a gut punch. They were calling her a shot to the ribs, but she didn't really land her in the ribs section, but that's neither here nor there. For her to regain her title, and I thought that was pretty. I was like, oh, okay, so it'd be interesting to see if Bayley does or does not get involved later on with Asuka Sasha match. So because I feel like there's I mean, they are still playing up that can Bayley get the job done without Sasha, and Sasha, she's she's the boss, she's the blueprint of what have you. So they're still kind of playing up the angle of them not being an evenly matched championship cohesiveness. But overall, the match was fine. I mean, it's so tough because I was recently I had rewatched NXT TakeOver Brooklyn and then Respect when she went up against Sasha, to where you really see what Bayley can do and how they kind of like watered that down, her move a lot, especially her moveset down. So it does get frustrating that she is the longest reigning SmackDown champion, but she still does not have a memorable feud besides Sasha. And even a lot of that is from background in NXT. So it's really tough to want to see her succeed when I'm like, I'm not invested. That's pure and simply, I'm not invested. And I do think it's because they keep recycling the same women over and over again with these challenges. Why not give Naomi a shot? Why? I guess they did give Tamina a shot. I was like, why not give? I guess still give another shot to I guess to Dana, to all of them at some point. I don't know, but I think we need to. I don't know. They need to do something because, yeah, Bayley's a long-standing champion. I do like her and Sasha together, but it's getting stale again.
I think they did a good job of showcasing Nikki, though. I think Nikki had a really good match for herself because I don't really get to see Nikki that much. besides tag team with Alexa, but she usually catches the pin there, so it's not like she's showcased that much. But I think she did a good job. The match was fun. Same hijinks we expect to see from Bayley and Sasha, what have you, when they do their cheating to win kind of thing. But it was a fun match, and like I agree, they should get another person in there to get a shot at it. But I think they're going to play off this Sasha Bayley thing for a while until they go ahead and feud against each other. You heard my thoughts on that when I texted you about it. But yeah, I guess we'll see. But it was a pretty fun match to watch, and I kind of want to see Bayley and Sasha hold all the belts for a while. I don't know what they're going to do about the NXT championship, but women's championship, I should say. But it's kind of cool to see them having them. I mean, I don't like how they acted when they first lost women's tag team championships, but I didn't think they should have lost it as fast as they did. But maybe this is what was supposed to happen back then before they took away their championships, So it's cool to see what happens. I agree with you. They should have other people involved, but I don't know if I'll see that for a while. The next match, or was it a match, featured the United States champion Apollo Crews against MVP.
Oh, this was, to be, I was actually kind of looking forward to this because I've been liking what MVP has been doing on the mic for Bobby Lashley, and him trying to recruit other people for, I guess we won't really call it a stable at this point, to his management, and having Apollo refuse, and then him getting like stung out about that, and he was like, I'm just gonna take your championship. To where when he did win against him a match on SmackDown, he's like, technically I beat him, so I'm the United States champion. And Apollo at the time wasn't able to dispute him at that point, so he just made up a new belt. Made a new U.S. belt, and then it was like, yeah, I'm the champion until they made this match official. Until we were told at the beginning, until we were told that Apollo could not compete due to an injury he withstood from I think the full Nelson that Bobby gave him a few weeks ago. Okay. So that led him MVP to be like, well, he's here, he forfeited, that means I'm the champion. For real. And they went on about their day. And that was it.
Yeah, I'm not really invested in the storyline. It's kind of stupid to see this whole stealing the championship thing doesn't really work that well, I guess, unless it's played out better, in my opinion. I'd rather see like a really hard fought match and someone take the championship than just be like, oh, you didn't even, like compete. I thought that was kind of stupid, so I wasn't really in for this match. All right, let's go to the next one.
I didn't mind it so much. It's just that you kept hyping this up to have it be nothing. Now, maybe if something had happened like on the SmackDown before, where they had maybe injured him really badly, or injured him really badly, then it probably wouldn't. But this kind of happened like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he kind of had a match since then. So that's where it was kind of weird. Of course, it could have been like real life circumstances that made him not be able to be there. But yeah, it was just weird. But like I said, I did like the angle that they tried to throw on it, because it was fitting to MVP being the slimy, swarmy like manager. Yeah. So it fit the character. I was just kind of excited. I just kind of wanted to see the match.
All right. That brings us to the next match, which is your eye for an eye match between Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins, where the stipulation was you to gouge out, and when I say gouge out the other person's eye to win the match. This is usually shit.
Oh, sorry. I totally forgot I was doing so many in a row. I'm gonna be honest. This was the match I was looking forward to the least. Mainly because I was like, really? We're going to try to take someone's... we're proposed to literally take someone's eye out. And I'm like... I know we're supposed to suspend some suspension of belief when it comes to WWE, but I was like, this is just way too... This was more way out there than the Fiend's wacky shenanigans on during his matches. But I did like I was liking the storyline involving Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio to where it was kind of like you're going after my family with Seth Rollins like cult leader Messiah for Strowman. So I thought that mix up want to go well. Um, but it's just so weird. Sorry, the stipulation still gets me. Um, but okay, so there was a lot of back and forth, of course, going on in the beginning of the match, starting in the ring. But of course, the object of the game is to get someone's eye out, and that's kind of hard to do with your bare hands, and unless you're at a mountain from Game of Thrones. So there was a lot of weapon play going on with kendo sticks trying to prop that up to like, or usually by stuff to at one point prop it up in the corner of the ring to try to push Rey Mysterio eye into the kendo stick. And I was telling Joe, our fact checker, one margin missed, and that would have actually been an eye gouging match if Ray didn't get his foot up in time. So that was very risky, but they pulled it off. Rollins even was pulling out tools from a toolbox, trying to literally gouge out an eye. And then he went back to how he originally injured Ray's eye at one point, trying to put him into the corner of the steel steps, which will come into play much later in the match again, with even Ray trying to do the same to Rollins as a legit revenge eye for an eye in the same way you messed up mine. And then they do wind up coming back into the ring for some actual wrestling to follow suit, to where even he went through with the usual 619. He even gave Rollins his own version of like the stomp. So that was pretty cool to see. Excuse me. So and then he did at one point I don't remember how, but the black patch that he had over his mask for his quote unquote injured eye got removed. I don't know if Ray did it himself or if Seth did it. As he was trying to put Rollins onto the steel steps, but Rollins would back kick him with a low blow. And then he went also to kick him directly. I think it was directly in the face, or if not, that was a really good camera angle. But then we do have to get to the end of the match of trying to gouge someone's eye out, and that happened when Rollins drove Ray's face into the steps. I don't know if it had to be the corner, because how else you don't really do that on the side of step into the corner, and then immediately the ref called for the bell. I don't even know if there was a lapse of time where he went to even go check on Ray's eye. It was almost like immediately calling for the bell, which of course you don't see anything because immediately they came over. I mean, Ray has his hand over his eye. The ref comes over with a towel, but and then you see like Seth with like this sickening look on his face, like he's gonna be sick. And then he vomits onto the match. That was gross, to be honest. But gotta play the theatrics of the whole thing. And so Ray gets escorted out to the back, and Seth was probably booed by his peers behind the plexiglass. Although we do learn later that Ray did not lose his eye. They said he suffered from something, but I couldn't remember what he said. What they said it was. But hopefully he won't lose his vision, as they said. But it wasn't a true. Actually, they didn't really do what they said they were going to do. They didn't really take anyone's eye out. They just injured them.
All right.
So, no, I guess it was. I will say it was a fairly good match. They were doing some small storytelling in the match, but they didn't deliver what they promised on. So now I'm disappointed.
So that exactly what you're saying is what I saw like I said at the beginning, I don't really watch SmackDown Raw, so I don't know what's going on. So when I heard that this was gonna be an eye for an eye match where you actually had to gouge out the opponent's eye, I'm like, whoa, how are they gonna do this? So it actually piqued my interest. I was like, well, how are they gonna show this? Like when they do like the Inferno matches and stuff like that, or buried alive matches, they actually bury people, and then Inferno match they have they get their boot gets on fire, or in the case of Kane, his glove gets on fire, kind of thing. But how are they going to gouge someone's eye out? And I'm like, well, maybe if they pre-recorded this match, they could do some kind of like a special effects or something. But no, they didn't. And it was a good match, and I really liked the whole Seth Rollins using the toolbox and bringing all these. That was pretty cool to see. But the ending comes, and that was awful because it's like Delisha said, he did the stomp, and like all of a sudden I think Ray started screaming, "It's out! It's out! I need help!" And that's when the referee rang the bell right away. But you didn't see anything. No blood, nothing. So like, why?
Not even any blood.
Yeah. So
blood. Like I would have if it was just. It was like if you get an actual legit eye injury or anything to the face, you are dripping blood because of all the small vessels there. So make it at least somewhat realistic, even if you're not going to fully take an eye out or put out a fake eye.
But afterwards they did have like more to play it off. So like I'm really disappointed about the whole eye gouging thing. I not that I want to see it, but I want to see how they would probably pull it off. So like that whole incident where like his eyes out was so badly done. Seth's reaction was better done because like they had to show some sort of reaction. So that was, it's disgusting, like Alicia said, but at least they had to do something. And Charlie Cruz's reporting at the end was very well done. How she used bigger words and stuff like that, and saying the optic nerve is still attached and all the blood vessels and all that. If that's still good, we're good to go. So that was really well done by Charlie Cruz. So kudos to her. If there was Charlie Cruz, I think it was. So good for her. That was Charlie Cruz was the best part of the match, I think, in my opinion, for giving her post report. Besides Seth Rollins' toolbox use, but it was fun, I guess. But it was just now we're gonna see Dominic, and that's gonna go on for a while. And I'm really interested to see how Dominic goes. But this has been just too long for these two guys. Like Seth Rollins.
So, you think we're getting next Dominic and Seth officially in the ring?
Can they waste that on a SummerSlam though?
Did you say can they waste that? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We still have not seen Dominic physically wrestle, so I don't. That's where we don't know what his capabilities.
That's what I'm saying. Can they use that on a SummerSlam match? Because SummerSlam's like second to WrestleMania or whatever. And welcome, Bubba. We're gonna get to that because that's the final match of the evening. We're gonna go in order, so we'll get to that in a while. But welcome, Bubba. So that's pretty much it.
I don't know. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But this is a weird year, so who knows?
I guess if they pre-tape it, they could if he makes a mistake, they could go over it again and again and again. So that could be done. But having him debut at SummerSlam, maybe we'll see.
If we can have since Aleister Black is a friend of Ray's and he's come to his aid a lot, we can have some stuff in the back about him training him more to tap into that inner darkness to get your revenge for your dad.
Honestly, I don't want to see it go this long. Okay, I don't want to see it go this long. But here's where I can see Dominic debuting as Survivor Series. It's gonna be their team's gonna be called Mi Familia, and it's gonna be Rey Mysterio, Dominic, maybe Aleister Black, and whoever else the other guy was that was helping them. What was that, Humberto Carrillo, I think? That'll be their team against the Buddy Murphy, whoever else was it? What's this guy? It's not Tyson Fury. It's some weird, not Tyson Kidd, not Tyson Fury. Nick Alpha. What's that guy's name? The other guy in the stable.
Oh crap!
It's Kenny Omega, but not Kenny Omega. It's some weird name.
No.
Nick Alpha.
Oh my gosh! Why can't I think of it?
Austin Pruitt, whatever his name is.
Austin Theory.
Austin Theory. See, I was close. Austin Theory. Austin Theory, Buddy Murphy, Seth Rollins, and one more guy, and against Mi Familia, which will be maybe Cain Velasquez, Dominic, Humberto Carrillo, and Aleister Black. That's Survivor Series, and that's where that's why he can hide behind the rest of it, and maybe he'll end up becoming the sole survivor and winning the match for them. That's where I can see Dominic debuting. Maybe he helps his dad recover over SummerSlam, so they're completely off the SummerSlam card, and the next two cards makes a triumphant return before Survivor Series, and that's how we had that match. That's what I see. All right, next match is for the Raw Women's Championship, featuring the Raw Women's Champion Asuka against the one half of the Women's Champion, Tag Team Women's Champion Sasha Banks. This was a great match. I really enjoyed it. We really got to see old school Sasha Banks, I think. I'm not that I know what old school is because I didn't really watch NXT back then. But I did watch the match actually the first ever NXT match I think I watched was the NXT TakeOver Bayley versus Sasha, which is arguably one of the best matches I've ever seen in my life. I don't know what Bubba's talking about. Is he talking about Io Shirai? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know what Bubba's talking about. I missed what he said before.
Isn't that Kyrie?
Kyrie, maybe? Okay. One of them got married. I don't know, but this was a great match. Really good wrestling put on by both of them. Obviously, you get that from Asuka and Sasha, but this was probably one of the best matches of the night for me. Mostly Sasha dominating, and she's doing a lot of like submission moves, and then with some reversals with some arm bars as well coming from Asuka. But very well done. We had obviously the Asuka's butt move, whatever she calls it, the hip thrust or whatever. But Sasha pretty much dominated the entire match. It looked like she was going to win it cleanly, and I was hoping she would. But that with Bayley on the outside and Kairi on the outside, we didn't think that was going to happen. Not that Kairi was going to do anything because they're kind of faces at the moment. Asuka really didn't. Honestly, I don't think Asuka put up much offense besides a few hip thrusts that she did, her armbar that she did, a few knee strikes and kicks. Other than that, and she went for the chokehold a few times. But that was reversed into like pins, into reverse into pins, to reverse into pins, reverse into pins, reverse into pins, like 14 reverses in a row kind of thing. Very well done wrestling match. We saw. I have to mention it because I texted Lisa right when it happened. Sasha Banks actually did a legit frog splash for the first time in her career, probably because she has one of the ugliest frog splashes I've ever seen in my life, but she did it very well this time at Extreme Rules. I texted Alicia right when it happened because Alicia was like an hour behind anyway. I had to spoil it for her because she had to be ready for it because it came. And not only was it good, and they showed it again in a replay because it was actually good. So like that was fun to see. So she actually did a really good frog splash. She didn't get the pin there. She got a little frustrated as well. Eventually, they kind of got tussled up. The ladies got up on the apron as well. They got knocked away, but there was a slight distraction with the belt being taken out of Sasha's hand because she was going to use it against Asuka. The referee took it away, started yelling at Sasha for a bit. Sasha's back was turned to Asuka. As the referee was still yelling at her, Sasha turns around. Asuka goes for the green miss, but ducks. But it wasn't even a miss. It was really poorly done, unfortunately. Oh, let's not forget to mention the two botches she also had. We got to go back to that first. Sasha, they were going to do a beautiful move. It was a beautiful, I think, German suplex off the top where Sasha didn't do the flip. She didn't land on her feet. She landed on her knees. It wasn't that botched, but it was very well done for a very difficult move. They still made it look good. Even though I think she was supposed to land on her feet, but she landed on her like knees. Then she went up to the second rope to jump off of, but she slipped and fell, and that kind of looked bad. So then she played it off as a knee injury, and the referee came to check on her. And she's like, "I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna give up." And that's when they got up, and Bayley got on the apron. Kairi got on the apron. They started arguing. Slid the belt in. Sasha was gonna use it. The referee saw it, took it away. Referee distracting Sasha. Sasha turns around. Asuka goes for the miss, which didn't come out that well because I guess they didn't work it enough time in her mouth or whatever it was. Referee goes down because Sasha ducked it. Referee gets blinded. Asuka, I forgot how Asuka got hit. Oh no! Then Bayley comes in and hits Asuka with the belt from behind. Takes off the shirt off the referee. Puts the referee shirt on herself. Bayley then counts to 1, 2, 3 on Asuka, and then they didn't really play the. They didn't ring the bell. They didn't play the music. But then Bayley started screaming at the timekeeper, told to ring the bell. Finally rung the bell. They took the belt, gave to Sasha. Sasha kind of doesn't know what's going on at the moment, but she walks off with the belt. So now they have both the tag team championship, well, just the tag team championships, and both the Raw and SmackDown women's belts. Unfortunately, I think on the Wikipedia though, it still shows Asuka as champion, and still shows who's the other guy? Apollo Crews is the champion for United States champion. So these are not really legit considered falls. But the second title that was stolen in the same night, so kind of awful to see. I accepted more. Delisha and I were talking about this. I accepted more from these two because it was kind of like part of their character. It's part of MVP's character too, but this was very more deserved and earned because it was a very good match put on that led to that ending. Delisha, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the match. These two, another two people who work very well together, who've been working together for a while now, and I think they both put on a really good show, so to speak. And yeah, it was more Sasha's match to control, that they gave her the more control of the match. But yeah, I actually pretty much enjoyed it. I know people were going back and forth on the ending, but like I was telling Cal, I think it's like, and he just said it's pretty fitting for their character, the braggadocious champions. Even though their champions don't feel like earned from the people, so to speak. But we'll see how they handle it on Raw tonight. Probably just gonna be. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a rematch on Raw tonight. I wouldn't save that for SummerSlam, because if you're telling us that match wasn't legit, why would you wait until SummerSlam to do the rematch. But I hope that they do keep it. Like somehow when they get through, unless they do something really stupid and try to make this legit because she put on a ref shirt, which doesn't make you a ref, it just makes you a person in a ref shirt. But hopefully they don't go that angle. But they was like, okay, do a rematch, and she still winds up retaining, because I do think that, like you said before, them having all the belts, it will be pretty fun for them to play around with. And I guess that does kind of inject Sasha onto the roster of Raw now. So we'll see her on Raw and SmackDown. Also because, which just to make Cal happy, Charlotte is taking some time off. So they I'm pretty sure they want a big name person to fill that slot. So that person going back and forth. So these Sasha works, and we do know that Shayna is sniffing around to take out people. So having them go at it, maybe them two at SummerSlam. I don't know. I'd be into it though. That could be fun. So just seeing the play around we could get between Sasha and other members of the Raw roster, that would be great. And not to knock down Asuka, because I do think that this might be her shortest title reign, possibly. I have to double check that. Fact checker's not here to let me know. But we also know because of the finish, this is not over with, so we'll see what they do.
Yeah, Bob was saying most likely they're going to have a rematch at SummerSlam. If that is the case, I would probably see Sasha and Bayley having some big celebration on Raw tonight, for themselves, and then Asuka coming to break it up, and them escaping. I can see them kind of running and fleeing for the rest of. I don't know if they can do it for a month. I guess I don't think they can do that. Eventually, it's going to catch up to them, and they're going to have a contract signing or something like that. But at least for tonight, I can see them having a big celebration. Asuka coming out to break it up and then running away. I think Sasha will hold on to the belt as well, just to have that as like a in-your-face thing to Asuka. All right. The next match of the evening features the WWE Champion, Drew McIntyre, defending against Dolph Ziggler which I didn't know against. Also, that Dolph Ziggler got to choose a stipulation in a stipulation of Dolph Ziggler's choosing. So they come to the ring, and then Dolph goes, "I'm going to make it an Extreme Rules match." And everyone's like, "What?" Well, not everyone, but because there's only like 20 people there. But everyone's like, "What?" And he goes, "For Dolph Ziggler only." So basically, Drew McIntyre has to follow the rules. Dolph Ziggler does not. The match goes as you would think. Drew McIntyre easily powers over Dolph in the beginning of the match until Dolph can get his hands on some underhanded tactics, such as a low blow. I think he might have got a kendo stick, but I'm not sure. But I know he definitely got steel chairs. And he did a lot of moves on the outside too, as well as throwing him into the turnbuckle, the ring post, I should say. But mostly using a chair and stuff like that. He hit the zigzag. He used a sleeper hold. He hit the Famouser twice, once on the outside, which was really nicely done, off the ring announcer's table. And then pretty much he had Drew McIntyre the entire match down using these underhanded tactics until Drew McIntyre at the end was able to muster up enough strength because he kicked out of not only a Famouser but also a zigzag in succession. And I think it did an Uranagi. Looked like a rock bottom, but it was more an Uranagi because he bent forward. The Uranagi onto a steel chair. So, Dolph Ziggler hit Drew McIntyre to Uranagi onto the steel chair. Drew kicked out. That kind of pissed off Dolph. That was very well done. Dolph started to tune up the band for some sweet chin music. After he tuned it up, he went in for the sweet chin music. But right there, boom, Claymore by Drew McIntyre out of nowhere. That was more like out of nowhere. That was really cool to see. That was a very good ending. Then Drew McIntyre got the 1, 2, 3 in the win. Because that was very, very well flowed. Those two flowed. All that final match moments flowed very well into each other. There's no hiccups anywhere there. No botches, nothing like that. So I really enjoyed that ending. And, one day Dolph Ziggler will get his day eventually. Not now, but eventually, because Drew McIntyre's going to hold it for a little bit. But that was a really good match. I enjoyed it. Felicia, what do you think?
I feel bad for the Dolph Ziggler fans who thought he might actually win this match. But Dolph Ziggler did what Dolph Ziggler does. He put on a good show. He put on a good match, and he right now he's the workhorse right now of his career. That's the phase that he's in, where you're gonna get a good match, but not necessarily gonna get the big payoff for him in the meantime. Because right now it's Drew McIntyre's time to shine. They have been building him up since before he beat Lesnar, and then afterwards to continue to make him the big top draw. So this match was great though. Like it really showed that that Ziggler could give all he got, and Drew was still gonna come out on top. So it'll be interesting to see. I think they're moving towards Randy Orton versus Drew, so that would be something. But yeah, like I said, overall it was a really good match. I just kind of knew the Dolph wasn't winning. Sorry, I love Dolph. He's really great in the ring, but this again, not his role tonight or last night.
Yeah, I really don't want to see Drew lose it for a while because he worked so hard to get there, especially leaving WWE, coming back, working his way through NXT, and then now winning at WrestleMania. Like I said, I don't think he should have won at WrestleMania because it's such a small, no crowd at all, I should say. But I feel like now that he has it, let him hold it for a while. I don't think he should lose to Randy Orton at SummerSlam, even though that might happen. I don't think that should happen. He should hold it for a while. I don't know who I could see. The only person I could see him losing to, who I want to see him lose to, not I want to see, but who I would accept him losing to, is Finn Balor. Finn Balor coming back and reclaiming like the championship that he lost. So I mean, I know it's not the Universal Championship anymore. It kind of flipped, but it was the Universal Championship when Finn Balor held it was the Raw champion, I guess, at that point. So I want to say that Finn Balor should get that chance of the Raw Championship, this title. That would be with the Irishman versus Scottishman. That would be kind of cool to see as well. At a WrestleMania maybe even. So this coming up there, WrestleMania possibly. But we'll see, I guess, because he's still in NXT doing his thing and really dominating over there. So another person who's on the radar, though, a lot of people have been talking about it on the dirt sheets, I guess. The public mentioned earlier the dirt sheet, so I thought I'd bring it up. Is that Drew McIntyre's been having Twitter war or Twitter exchange of words with The Rock. So that would be kind of see. The Rock would definitely probably beat him easily because that's The Rock and that's what he does. Comes in and beats somebody and then loses at WrestleMania for the big payoff for people. But I'd rather see Drew McIntyre, much like The Rock, you guys know, I'd rather see Drew McIntyre hold it for maybe through WrestleMania, to WrestleMania at least, and lose to Finn Balor.
I mean, movies are on hold until The Rock needs to do something. So
yeah. Alright. Final match of the evening is the swap match featuring the Universal Champion Braun Strowman against Bray Wyatt. So what are we gonna get? We're getting another Boneyard match, another Firefly Funhouse match, basically pre-taped match where the ending is already known, but okay. So Bubba says, yeah, Kairi is out tonight for the last match. They filmed the match for her next week, but she's gone and she's leave Asuka by herself the whole. Oh, okay, well maybe they could. I don't know what they're gonna do, but Asuka could find another help somewhere. That brings us to the final match. Like I said, it's a pre-type match in the swamps. I don't know about you. I wouldn't want to wrestle in the swamp, especially at night. There's venomous snakes, alligators, and probably other. Yeah, I'm trying to think of. Probably other deadly stuff that I don't know that are probably in the swamps. Probably spiders. What the F happening match? A lot of people said that. I did not enjoy this as much as the Boneyard match, and as for the Bray Wyatt matches, I did not enjoy this nearly because, like I said, I like the Firefly Funhouse match better than the Boneyard match, even though the Boneyard match was actually a match, whereas the Firefly Funhouse match was not a match. But I like the whole payoff at the end where the whole John Cena's like, he's over. I'm gonna finish the most overrated over whatever hype superstar ever, and it ended up being John Cena, not Bray Wyatt, kind of thing. That was cool. So that storytelling was amazing. This storytelling was not as good, but it wasn't bad. Match-wise, it was very much worse, a lot worse than the Boneyard match. Boneyard match was actually good. You have AJ Styles, who's one of the best wrestlers ever, so that makes sense. But this wasn't even a match. Welcome, Nate. I didn't see you type there, unless you're over on Twitch. I don't know. But Bray Wyatt greets Braun, who drives up in his pickup truck. Bray Wyatt's on his little rocking chair, and then he goes, welcome, welcome, and the lights go out, Bray's gone, Braun's attacked by guys, random people with shovels. Random people attack him, then he's hit in the back of the shovel. The person who hits him with the shovel is himself, with the black sheep mask on. Then he's tied up on a chair. Bray Wyatt's just talking to him about some nonsense, and then a woman with the veil and a snake comes. The snake bites Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman. Then they end up in the middle of a match again, or whatever it is, and the random big guys come out, get beaten up. Then Bray comes out again and fights him, and then all of a sudden Bray is distracted by another woman in all black, and then people are saying it's Sister Abigail, but I don't think it is. It was just Alexa Bliss. She took off the veil. It happened to be Alexa Bliss. Some people are saying that Alexa Bliss is supposed to be Sister Abigail. I don't think so. I think it was just Bray Wyatt playing mind games with Braun Strowman because of Braun and Alexa's mixed match tag team chemistry they had back in the day. If it is Sister Abigail, I'm kind of disappointed because I want to see someone else new come out from that, maybe someone who doesn't get much time being Sister Abigail. That would be cool to see. Alexa Bliss has already got enough spotlight. As much as I love her, you guys know, but I feel like she's doing well in her Nikki Cross angle. They don't need her to be Sister Abigail. And eventually they get Braun and Bray start fighting again after he's distracted by Alexa Bliss, and they fight into the water, which I wouldn't want to fight in because the crocodiles and stuff, or alligators, I should say. And Braun gets pulled under for a second and comes back out because Bray's kind of smothering him underwater. But Braun breaks out of it, starts beating up Bray Wyatt. Then he knocks Bray Wyatt out and throws him into the water. And Bray Wyatt's done. Braun's just standing on the pier looking over, like, I beat you. And then the little Extreme Rules, little whatever you call it, copyright WWE comes up in the corner. So you think it's over, but you know it's not over because then they copy the Friday the 13th where Jason comes out of the thing and pulls the person off the pier. But instead, in this case, it's Bray Wyatt comes out, puts the mandible claw on him, on Braun, pulls him underwater, and then the water just goes red, I think, with blood. And it goes to black, and then it's just the edge of the pier, and then the Fiend comes out of the water and laughs into the camera, and then it fades to black, and that ends the match. So what I could see that happening here is now we're going to have another rematch. I guess it's 1-1. Braun won the first one, Bray won the second one. Bray had to win it on his swamp thing with the snake and other bad guys, and Alexa Bliss, and all that mind games to win it. So Braun won the regular wrestling match. This guy, Bray Wyatt, won the swamp match. Now we're going to actually see, at SummerSlam, Braun Strowman against The Fiend. And, the Fiend always has a higher power level and all that, much like Demon Finn Balor. Again, it doesn't work in Saudi Arabia, apparently. Saudi Arabia mixes the heat. It's got to be the heat. The extreme heat has to negate the Fiend's powers. But yeah, we have The Fiend most likely facing Braun Strowman and hopefully defeating Braun Strowman at SummerSlam. Felicia, your thoughts?
This production, because this wasn't a match, this production had highs and lows for me. I think there was, in the beginning when Bray was talking, I think he was talking too much a little bit. It was, it was the whole, villain explaining his plan to the hero trope that we see in movies, but I think it went on just a little bit too long. And I did like the psychological warfare that they were trying to get across, like they did with the John Cena match. So I get what they were trying to do. I just don't think it was executed as Chris as the Cena match would. I don't know. Maybe it was too dark and we couldn't really see what it is they were trying to do. I don't know. But the ending really was the best for me. The pulling him into the water and then coming up with the Fiend. I knew that something like that was probably gonna happen, but you still get a little jump scare when it does. And they did almost fool Joe with the copyright. He was like, "What the heck?" Because he got the remote, was like, "What the heck are they doing?" And then you see them come out again. So that was pretty funny. Because you don't see them do that a lot. Because a lot of times when they put up that copyright, it's legit in the show. But yeah, I knew if the Fiend was going to be involved, he was going to have to, quote unquote, win this time around. Because as we know, like you said, Bray loses, the Fiend doesn't, except for an outlier match. But it was alright. It was something. But yeah. And to answer Bubba's about you mentioned before, we don't think that was truly Sister Abigail. That was just a mind incarnation from Braun because of the snake venom, I guess. That's where all this was contributing from. Because that is his his he had a close relationship with her. Not a relationship, but like a relationship. um, because even she was saying, didn't you want to be with me? Come to me. Kind of like the well, not really like a mermaid, but the stories of how the mermaids led sailors to their
The
death.
siren.
So, yeah, that's what I was trying to get to. So kind of like that manifestation, but so I did kind of like that. They were literally trying to play off a lot of his past, and it was interesting. Didn't quite fully pay off in the way I would have liked, but it was interesting.
Yeah, Bubba's saying he really hopes Bray wins at SummerSlam. I agree, because he does have that charisma. He says he has the charisma, and he's also very much, he can be like an Undertaker type character, which I do agree with as well. I just think his legacy is, he won't have, no, I don't think anyone ever will have the legacy that Undertaker has or will have.
It's almost impossible.
Because Bray's WrestleMania legacy has already been tarnished, in my opinion. But he can be the next Undertaker type character. I agree with that. Much like Finn Balor was supposed to be with the Demon, I guess, right? But Bray Wyatt's very good with creative. And to bring up your point about the copyright thing coming up, I think the first time they ever used that was the day of the pipe bomb by CM Punk on Monday Night Raw. So that was the first time they put the copyright thing up early, and everyone's like, "Oh, the show's over," but then they cut to make it seem like more legit, like more of a shoot, or that he's doing it off camera, after the show. The cameras just kept rolling for that sake. But yeah, it was a fun match. Like, I mean, it wasn't as good as the Boneyard match, nowhere near as good as the Boneyard match, and nowhere near good as psychologically maybe, but not as good as the Firefly Funhouse match, because the ending of the Firefly Funhouse match was just so good with the sound, the voiceover part. Yeah, so he says maybe next time, Bubba saying maybe next time Braun sees Alexa Bliss, he'll freak out because he doesn't trust anyone anymore. That works out really well. That's a good idea. Like that snake venom kind of thing that messed with his mind. Now keeps going. Got a lot of B's here. Braun, Bray, Bliss, Bubba, all these B's. So with that said, we're going to go to our finishers. We're going to talk about our low point, our high point, and our overall rate. So we'll start with Alicia.
Let's see. Low points, I think I'm going to give it to the MVP segment. Not because I didn't like it, but because I don't, not knowing what actually is wrong with Apollo. It was just like, I was kind of really excited for the match because I really like the playback and forth that they were doing on the mic wise. So that kind of really bummed me out a little bit. High points, I will give it to. I think I'm actually gonna give it to the men's tag team match. Because I didn't really expect a lot from them just because of its build up, but they did want to put in a pretty good match, and the ending was really cool. It was extreme for the pay-per-view. And it's pretty interesting to see how they go forward with that. And overall grade, I think I'm gonna give it a C+. While there was a lot of good spots and moments in the show, it was kind of choppy in its flow, and I don't know, the I-4-9 match wasn't really what I didn't really want the match to begin with, but it wasn't really what I wanted. The Bray Fiend Strowman match was convoluted, but it overall, for I guess the B-side pay-per-view, it was, I guess, solid.
Yeah, for me, my low point was definitely the end of the eye gouge match because I was so poorly done. I was actually excited to see how they pull it off, and they didn't even pull it off. So that was it. But like I said, the Charlie Cruiser part was the best part of the match. The high point was actually, for me, the Sasha Banks Asuka match because that was a very well done match, very well wrestled, very well countered. A few botches, but I can. That was tough moves, except for the jumping off the turbo. That was, but Kevin Owens botched that as well, so I gave him crap for that. And overall grade, I'd probably give it a C, flat C. It's average. I had high hopes for it when I saw the match. Not knowing when I saw the card, I should say, not knowing the stipulations, and then that kind of wavered throughout. But I did really enjoy the men's tag team as well. But it was okay. That's why I say give it an average C grade. So with that said, we're gonna go over to Alicia. And where can we find you? What do you plan on coming up in the future with?
Yes, I did want to give a little shout out to Entertain45 who couldn't really be here tonight because he's one of our loyal fans and listeners. He was here almost every time we're doing a show, and he had said that he thought the show was again a solid C. So we're kind of all in the same boat range, or grade range for the show. With his best moment being Swamp match, and the worst is the eyeball as well. So yeah, all of us are disappointed that we didn't get what we were promised. Because even though it was like this was a B minus, C plus at best. So yeah, I think for once, us and the audience were kind of all in agreement. Because usually there's always like, no, but this one was pretty good and stuff like that. So that's pretty fun. That doesn't happen often, guys. So we gotta celebrate the moments. But you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at FeliciaRenee. And you can find me on an upcoming episode of AfterTalk, our sister show, to a more long-form wrestling discussion. More details to follow, to look out on to the Twitterverse for that. And guys, we are on audio podcast as well. If you're not able to watch the replay live, maybe you are at work and not able to put YouTube up, we are here on Anchor and also on a bunch of other audio RSS feeds. So we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, I believe Google Podcasts, and a host of others. I will be retweeting out the link for this show on Wednesday. Granted, then my computer's giving me problems, but hopefully I will get out to Wednesday. So look out for the tweet for that. Go on over to Spotify or Anchor or wherever you listen to your podcast. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, write a review. It really helps our channel on all platforms to grow, to show our ad supporters, which we do have now, that we are a legit podcast. So if you guys can go over and do that, that would be great. But otherwise, you can follow me on Twitter, and we can always talk wrestling.
And I'm going to be putting the Anchor links into the description below as well, so don't forget to look out for that. As for me, I am your people's champ, Cal. I'm not really on Twitter at the moment. I'm just taking some time off from Twitter. Like I said, I want everyone to be kind and nice to each other, be safe out there as well. The world is pretty hurtful and divisive at the moment, so make sure you guys are nice to each other, take care of each other. We're all in this together, so make sure you do that. I will be going back to
McIntyre, guys. That's all.
Well, I will be back to streaming probably in September, playing some Avengers, Marvel Avengers, hopefully, unless another game comes out between then and now and then. I got Ghost of Tsushima, but I've been playing that. Thank you, Bubba. Have a good night. I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima off stream because it's just so much fun, and I didn't want to just relegate to playing it on stream. But the next time you'll see us here on AfterMat is after SummerSlam, which is on August 23rd. And AfterMat will be the Monday night after at 7:30 p.m. Or maybe earlier because it's one of the big nights. The big matches we usually start at 7 p.m. because there's usually like 84 matches. So it's like a 9-hour-long pay-per-view and stuff. So we usually start 30 minutes early. So maybe probably 7 p.m. Eastern, I'll say for now, on on Monday, August 24th.
You ready for WrestleMania?
Yeah, because my predictions are already out there, so you got to make it happen. So make sure you guys remember, be kind, be safe, be the champion of your dreams, and keep slamming the haters. We'll see you next time.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust.